Hey Raiders fans, we need to have a serious conversation about what's going on with this team, because honestly, the state of the offensive line has been nothing short of catastrophic. Watching the Raiders over the past few weeks has been painful. It's not just a bad streak or a rough patch, it's historically bad. If you look at the numbers, it's shocking. The quarterback has been under constant pressure, sacks are piling up, and the run game is barely functional. The offensive line is supposed to be the foundation of the team, and right now, it's collapsing under its own weight. This isn't just a minor issue. It's the kind of problem that derails entire seasons. The offensive line hasn't just struggled. It's failed to protect the quarterback and open running lanes, and it's hard to see how this can continue without serious changes. Let's break it down. Last week against Washington, the Raiders allowed 28 pressures, 15 hurries, 5 unblocked pressures, and 5 sacks. That is not just bad. That is catastrophic by NFL standards. And it's not just about the numbers. Watching the plays unfold, you can see that the offensive line isn't working as a unit. Assignments are missed, communication is poor, and players seem unsure of their roles. It's a mess that starts at the top. The offensive line coach and run game coordinator hold the keys to making this group function, and right now, it's clear that the leadership is failing. When your running game is producing just over 3 yards per carry, that's not an accident. That's a direct reflection of coaching decisions, player usage, and scheme planning, or the lack thereof. The Raiders are dead last in rushing yards per attempt, and it falls squarely on the shoulders of the coaching staff responsible for putting the line in a position to succeed. It's not just about schemes or play calls. This is also about personnel and player development. The Raiders have players who have shown promise in the past, yet under the current setup, their potential is being squandered. Players who should be improving are regressing. You can see it in the stats. Certain offensive linemen who performed reasonably well last season are struggling now, and that raises questions about preparation and coaching methodology. How can players progress when the system seems confused and the coaching staff appears disconnected from their capabilities? The issue isn't just one game or a fluke. It's been consistent over the first few weeks, and it's glaring enough that fans and analysts alike are starting to call it out. Another factor that can't be ignored is the apparent lack of understanding of player strengths. Some players clearly fit certain positions better than others, yet we see questionable alignment choices week after week. When you look at last season's production and compare it to now, the decline is stark. Players who thrived in specific positions are being moved unnecessarily, and the results are predictable. The line isn't cohesive, and mismatches and assignments are leading to repeated failures. It feels like decisions are being made for reasons that have nothing to do with winning games or optimizing player performance. Whether it's favoritism, misjudgment, or just a lack of experience, the outcomes are disastrous. Then there's the communication problem. Watching the coaching staff during games, it's obvious that coordination between the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator is lacking. Plays that should work in theory break down on the field, and it's clear that adjustments aren't being made effectively. The lack of in-game adaptation is costing the team yards, drives, and ultimately, points. You can't have a successful offensive system if the coaches aren't on the same page. Right now, it seems like they might as well be speaking different languages. When inside runs aren't working and the same mistakes are repeated over and over, it's more than frustrating. It's unacceptable for a team with playoff aspirations. The consequences extend beyond the field. A struggling offensive line affects the entire team. The quarterback's confidence, the running back's rhythm, the timing of routes for the receivers, even the defense indirectly. When the line can't protect the quarterback or create space for runners, it forces every other part of the team into a reactionary mode. The offense becomes predictable, and the pressure on the skill players skyrockets. It's a domino effect, and the root cause lies squarely with the offensive line performance and its leadership. Fans are seeing a team that should be competitive, but is instead sputtering in critical situations. This isn't about hype or expectations. It's about tangible, measurable failures that are happening game after game. To make matters worse, there are rising stars on the roster who are not being utilized correctly. Players who could contribute significantly are sitting on the sidelines while others who are underperforming remain in starting roles. It's bewildering. This kind of mismanagement not only impacts the current season, but could also stunt player development in the long term. When young offensive linemen don't get the right coaching or the right reps, their growth slows and the team's future becomes uncertain. The organization drafted talent to improve the line, yet those players have not been integrated effectively. The wasted potential is staggering and speaks to deeper structural issues in coaching strategy and decision-making. Finally, the optics of this situation are troubling. Watching a team with so much talent fail in fundamental areas is frustrating as a fan. There's a disconnect between the talent on the roster and the results on the field, and it's becoming increasingly hard to justify the current approach. Fans expect accountability, and right now, the lack of progress and visible mismanagement raises serious questions about the leadership of the offensive line and the coordination within the coaching staff. There is clear evidence that changes are needed, not just tweaks, but meaningful adjustments to how the line is coached, how players are deployed, and how strategies are implemented. Without those changes, the Raiders risk continuing down a path of underperformance that could define the season. Now let's talk about the impact on the quarterback, because you can't discuss the Raiders' offensive struggles without looking at how exposed the quarterback has been. Geno Smith has been under relentless pressure, and it shows in every game. 12 sacks in just the first 3 games. Yes, you heard that right. Is an alarming pace that puts him on track for what would be the most sacks allowed in franchise history. That's not hyperbole. The record for the Raiders dates back to 1967, and this team is on pace to shatter it. When your quarterback is getting hit this often, it's not just numbers on a stat sheet. It affects confidence, timing, and decision-making. Every dropped ball, every hurried throw, every play disrupted starts with a line that's failing to protect its most critical player. And let's be honest, it's not just about pure protection. The offensive line's inability to open up running lanes is a key factor here. When the run game is stagnant, defenses can focus entirely on the quarterback, and that's exactly what's happening. Defenders are crashing the line, overwhelming blockers, and forcing Geno into impossible situations. It's a cycle that the team cannot escape as long as the line remains inconsistent. In the running game, oh man, it's been rough. Averaging just over 3 yards per carry puts the Raiders dead last in the league, and that's a direct indictment of coaching, planning, and execution. You can have talented running backs, but if they're running into brick walls on every play, there's only so much they can do. The interior line has been practically non-existent, forcing backs like Ashton Gentry and Samir White into situations where success is almost impossible. Plays designed to exploit gaps in the defense are being stuffed before they even develop, and the repeated failures on simple runs make it clear that the scheme isn't working and adjustments aren't being made. You watch film, and it's painful. The same mistakes over and over, blocking assignments missed, and yet the approach rarely changes. This isn't coaching by design. It's coaching by stubbornness, and it's costing the team every yard, every drive, and ultimately every game. The issue extends to player deployment as well. There are clear mismatches in how talent is being used. Jackson Powers Johnson, for example, is arguably one of the best defensive linemen on the roster, yet he's not starting at center. Players who could make an immediate impact are sidelined in favor of others who have underperformed consistently. The logic behind these decisions is baffling, especially when you look at prior performance metrics. Last season, JPJ excelled at center, and the team had a much stronger run game behind him. This season, with the same players shuffled around or not utilized in a primary role, production has plummeted. It's not just mismanagement, it borders on neglect. When talent is ignored or misused, the team's potential is squandered, and that's exactly what we're seeing with the Raiders. Another problem is continuity or the lack of it. Pete Carroll has talked about continuity as a principle, but the execution is lacking. The offensive line is meant to function as a cohesive unit, and last season, when Joe Philman stepped in as offensive line coach, there was noticeable improvement. Players understood their roles better, communication improved, and the run game became more reliable. This season, the team has regressed, And it's a combination of poor positioning, inconsistent coaching, and perhaps favoritism. The internal communication breakdown between the offensive line coach and the coordinator has been apparent during games. Plays designed to exploit weaknesses fail because the line is not synchronized and adjustments aren't communicated effectively. Watching the chaos on the field, it's hard to imagine how the coaching staff cannot see what's going wrong in real time. The regression of players is alarming. Young talent that should be developing and contributing is either underutilized or performing worse than expected. Dylan Parham, Jordan Meredith, JPJ, and DJ Glaze have all shown declines in their effectiveness, and that's not just minor dips, it's significant regression. Meanwhile, recent draft picks like Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant are healthy but barely seeing the field. When you draft players to strengthen the line and then fail to get them meaningful reps, you're not just hurting the present, you're hurting the future. Development stalls, confidence drops, and the team's depth erodes. The combination of underperformance, poor coaching, and missed opportunities is creating a downward spiral that could take the Raiders years to recover from if left unchecked. And let's not ignore the psychological impact on the team. Players notice when they're being misused or when others are being favored. The lack of accountability and inconsistent decision-making sends a message that talent and performance aren't the priorities. It's almost like the staff is playing favorites rather than making objective, performance-based choices. That kind of environment is toxic and counterproductive. Football is a results-driven sport, and when your most talented players aren't on the field in the right positions, the results reflect that immediately. Confidence erodes, morale dips, and the overall cohesion of the team suffers. Fans see it on every play, and it's frustrating because the raw talent is there, but it's being squandered through poor coaching and decision-making. The communication breakdown extends beyond the offensive line itself. Coordinators, position coaches, and players are all supposed to operate as a single unit, adjusting in real time to defensive schemes and game flow. Right now, the lack of alignment is evident on nearly every snap. Plays that should work are failing because the signal isn't getting through, adjustments aren't made, and responsibilities are mismanaged. When inside runs fail repeatedly, while outside runs are barely attempted, it's clear there's a disconnect in strategy execution. Coaches aren't adapting to what's happening on the field, and the offensive line suffers as a result. So here's the big picture. The Raiders have the talent, but the structure is failing. The offensive line is historically poor, the quarterback is under siege, running backs are blocked at every turn, and young talent isn't being developed. Coaching decisions are inconsistent, communication is broken, and accountability seems absent. Without immediate changes, this team risks not only another disappointing season, but also long-term setbacks in player development and team culture. Raiders fans deserve better, the players deserve better, and the organization has to recognize that the current approach is not working. Every missed assignment, every failed block, every sack is a symptom of a larger problem that needs decisive action now. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are swirling in Las Vegas, and if the chatter is even half true, Raiders fans are in for a treat. Word around the league is that the Raiders have inked a deal with wide receiver XAVIER Worthy. An insider suggests this could transform the silver and black into one of the fastest, most electrifying offenses the NFL has ever seen. Worthy, known for his blazing speed and ability to stretch the field, would pair with Las Vegas' existing weapons to create a receiving core that defenses might struggle to contain. Sources close to the team hint that the move is more than just adding another receiver. It's part of a calculated plan to turn the Raiders' offense into a high-octane, breakneck-speed juggernaut. Analysts have been buzzing about Worthy's potential since his college days, noting his ability to create separation in the blink of an eye and turn short passes into explosive plays. With him in the lineup, the Raiders could finally have the kind of vertical threat that keeps opposing safeties on their heels. Fans are already dreaming of long bombs downfield, gadget plays, and the kind of highlight reel moments that make Sunday games must-watch TV. If this rumor holds, the Raiders' quarterback situation suddenly looks a lot more promising, as having a true speedster to target opens up options across the field and adds pressure on defenses in ways that go beyond stats. NFL insiders are even whispering that the Raiders' offensive scheme might shift to fully exploit this speed advantage, with play designs built around getting Worthy in space and letting him use his wheels. Of course, nothing is official yet, and until the ink dries, this is still very much the realm of speculation. But the excitement is palpable, and if the Raiders have indeed secured Worthy, they could be on the verge of assembling an offense that's not just fast, it's lightning. Whether this rumor proves true or not, the mere possibility has already set social media ablaze, with fans and commentators debating how far the Raiders could go with a player of Worthy's caliber. Could this be the season Las Vegas finally becomes a destination for high-speed, high-flying football? The buzz says maybe. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.